Welcome to the Luxine series. This series will have dead times, not so accurate post-production, and a lot of backtracking. This series is meant to be a deep lore analysis and 100% completion of the game. Thanks for your attention. Lasciate ogni speranza, voi che entrate. Hi guys, welcome back to Dante's Zone. I am Dante or Jack, and we are back for another episode of Luxine Morthus Spatio. In the last episode, we dealt with Dr. Chalice Mercer and his necromorph super experiment capable of be undying because he could regenerate his limbs so we could not kill it. And we froze it here in cryogenics. And we discovered that Dr. Mercer wanted to bring these frozen necromorphs back to Earth because as a unitologist, he has a fixation in bringing forth this convergence event with the marker. He showed us these two capsules specifically, and these are a new species of necromorph that, as usual, until we defeat, we will not read about. We left off while saving in the next room, but here we had something to pick up. A key item, a tissue sample. Side mission unlocked.
Got something, Isaac?
Let's call it a tissue sample from Mercer's pet hunter.
Careful. Who knows what mad science went into that thing?
Maybe I could find out, figure out what Mercer's up to. If I'm fast, there has to be a DNA scanner close by.
Let's take a look at this side mission. Premeditated malpractice. Mercer's created some regenerating monster he calls his Hunter. I've got to know more about what I'm up against. And the side mission for now is scan the tissue sample. Location on medical deck. I found a sample of tissue from Mercer's Hunter. If I run it through a DNA scanner, maybe I can figure out what I'm dealing with. Let's track this objective actually, and do it before we move on to chapter 6. And let's have this little transition between the two chapters. We defeated the Hunter by freezing it in the cryogenics, but we are not sure that it is dead. And I talked about this in the earliest episode, and I said necromorphs are best dealt with, especially with fire. That is because if you destroy the, let's say, molecules that compose a necromorph, they can't have anything to recompose themselves with, and will eventually die. That scared me absolutely. What the hell was that? That's a leaper on the roof. Why in the hell does the intensity director hate me this much? Okay, save room. No necromorphs here. Let's see our ammo situation. We are out of line gun, and we cannot buy those. We are currently only provided with some Reaper ammo, a lot of pulse rifle, and some flamethrower hydrazine. We are in a bad situation, but we should be in the right position to complete the side mission. Because I didn't talk about it, but I already know where the DNA scanner is, And a lot of you also will probably know, because you meet the scanner when you go exactly in the main labs, where the offices of Nicole and Dr. Kine are located. And it tells you that there's something missing, but you would never guess that the thing missing is a tissue sample of this super powerful necromorph that is not killable in any way, no matter the weapon you use. We tried, and I discovered, and I hope this can be of help if any of you play in Impossible, that using the line gun that you find is the greatest idea you can have. The line gun works beautifully against every necromorph, basically, because we know from the previous episode that the line gun has the most damage without being upgraded. So just think about what it could become if you upgrade it.
Beginning DNA analysis. Match found for Grant Harris, mining contractor, Aegis 7. Registered physician, Dr. Charles Mercer. Warning. Severe DNA abnormalities found. Rig tracking is available to trace possible contagion. Authorize.
Harris, what did Mercer do to you? Authorize.
Syncing logs and points of interest to rig locator. Thank you for your commitment to public health.
Scan tissue sample has been cleared. Find Aris's ICU bed. I don't know what ICU means. Maybe we can get it. According to DNA records, this hunter used to be a miner called Brent Harris. Sounds like Mercer treated Harris in medical's ICU. There could be more evidence there. Finally, we have the confirmation that the hunter is in fact Brent Harris, a miner on Aegis 7, the colony, that went mad after they retrieved the marker. Brent Harris got shipped to the Ishimura after going absolutely mad and taking hostage Dr. Sciarello, afterwards killing a nurse, and then being sent here, where he got under the care of one of the doctors here on the medical deck, and then got sent to be Nicole's patient. But Mercer was interested in him because this Brenton Harris kept writing marker language on every available surface, doing drawings, writings, and other stuff all on the walls with every possible available surface, as it was stated on the log. We also know that Harris, was not exactly in a good condition already on the colony, because he is one of the main characters in the comic released before the Space Remake came out. The same comic I talked about when talking about Sciarello in the episode 10 on the Captain's Nest. And now we know that Mercer, that was very interested in this poor fellow, actually managed to get permission to work with him, and he turned him into we now know as the Hunter, a self-replicating necromorph absolutely capable of not being killed by dismemberment. But let's keep it up and see if we can find something else. And while we are at it, let's also try to open everything that is available to us with our level 2 clearance. Of course, I will try to not bring out another... What was that sound? To bring out another backtracking episode, because those are quite heavy and we could well do without those. They say the ICUs, and we know the ICUs should be right around where this corridor is. Right straight from here. And I can hear it, I just don't want to turn around. Oh, it was in front of me. Wait to know. These are all patients, clearly, because they are all dressed with what is a medical gown, it seems. One of them looked more like he had a miner's suit on, but I could be wrong on that. And you can see that stasis is fundamental. There's a reason why I told you that stasis would save our lives multiple times. And here it's clearly Brenton Harris' room. Let's see what we have here.
I was recording. Here, look up for me. Just a sliver of bone between us and Marcus Seats. Relax. It won't be like ages 7 and that unpleasantness with the nurse.
Wasn't a nurse when I did that. This errand you want me to do in ore storage. The miners won't like it.
They're probably as narrow-minded as the miners in the colony is. Tormenting someone for being a little different. Don't you deserve a good scare?
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I'm ready.
Easy. If I insert this material in the right region of the brain,
Oh God. I can see the Marcus codes. It's been trying to show me. They're hungry. They're coming. They'll make us whole. Doctor, I see it now. The marker speaks. We can answer.
tell me how.
Tracking related rig activity.
Rendaris ECU bed has been completed. And again, we find ourselves having to go to the mining deck. This time to investigate the ore storage. That is how much we can go ahead with the side mission. And by going back to the Trime station, let's go ahead with the rest of the chapters. Go to Trime maintenance. The tram station to Hydroponics is sealed off. If I take the tram to the hangar and head to tram maintenance instead, there's a way to Hydroponics from there. So we are headed straight back to tram maintenance so we can head to Hydroponics. Because it seems like the air around the ship is being contaminated by some kind of creature residing there in Hydroponics. When the oxygen started to go out here on medical, they told us that it was because air from Hydroponics was being pumped here on the medical deck. And as much as we could go by foot, let's take the tram station. Oh, wait. We need to go back to cryogenics. Yep. We need to go to cryo because we did not go on the other side of the cryogenics lab. We went backwards to go and complete the available parts of the side mission. So let's go straight back to cryogenics. This time without having to go too much around. Thank goodness. We can just cut straight through here. And I will probably ignore every single necromorph that is in our way. Or at least if I can escape from them, I will. We are pretty strict on ammo, especially lately. Let's save. Yet again. Because as usual, I'm a scaredy cat that doesn't want to lose his entire progress here in impossible mode. And lights are completely off. Thank you, Intensity Director, for this joke. And here is the tram station from the bridge. Because the Ishimura is beautifully connected on every single part. So we can go from the bridge to medical to tram maintenance to wherever you want. Without needing to get the tram every time. And we can go back and forth as much as we want. Like the Ishimura is basically an open world map. You can feel like you're playing an open world GDR without having an open world GDR, because you do have an open world map of the Ishimura. Now, the colony, that's a complete other pair of pants. And that effect we saw quite a lot, especially when we are here on the bridge. Let's go straight to hangar and cargo tram control. Nothing ever happens on the tram station. It's a fluent way to maybe mask some loadings, especially of the map. But I never had anything happen while I was on one of these. Maybe once it made a big loud sound, but nothing else. Just a loud sound and a good old scare from me. Nothing else. Here we go back to medical, it seems. Because for reaching hydroponics, we need to go through here. And as you can see, it doesn't look like tram maintenance has changed much yet. Go to hydroponics. Something is poisoning the air in hydroponics. If I don't fix it, soon no one on board is going to be breathing. That is pretty true. In the last episode, I wanted to talk about this. We had that cinematic moment with Dr. Mercer. And one of my favorite things is that Mercer says to Isaac, "You don't look like the talkative type." I would like to believe that that is a joke to the fact that the original Dead Space Isaac didn't say a single word. He killed, got betrayed, got slapped, snapped, just jump scared and screeched at, and every possible horrible things they can do to you, and he just shut the hell up and kept going without saying a word.
Isaac, if you're near hydroponics, check your helmet filters. That air's not safe to breathe.
Yeah, I smelled it. The whole deck's rotting.
I'm reading a huge mass in food storage. Too big to be anything they grew. It looks like the source of the poison gas. That patient in medical, he said something about creating an enzyme, right? Maybe the scientist left the workstation open.
Welcome, one and all, to Hydroponics. I think we are missing only 2 decks on the Ishimura at this point. That being the mining deck and the crew deck, because we have been to almost every possible deck on the Ishimura. Main objective, gain access to food storage. Whatever's poisoning the air seems to be in food storage. We're running out of time. I need to get inside. And create enzyme. That patient in medical mentioned an enzyme that could stop the poison gas in hydroponics. If the scientists here were working on it, I should find a workstation.
Hydroponics log. dock, Dr. Elizabeth Cross. Now that sprinklers are fixed, we're working close to maximum capacity. All flora is thriving, and food yield has created a surplus. I had the surplus packed up so we could send it to the colony. The Captain Matthias is strictly enforcing his no-fly order. It's ridiculous. I'm lodging a complaint. Everyone knows Aegis 7 needs help. What harm could some fresh fruit do?
We unlocked tram station here on Hydroponics, and now we can go on ahead to the next stage. Now, chapter 6 will be the last one we complete before I take a little break from recording Dead Space, because otherwise I'm pretty sure I'm going to start talking the marker language. That would not be exactly enjoyable to anyone to watch. Chapter 6 also has the biggest number of missable logs, actually, being like 3 or 4, if I remember right. And one of them is like the one I told you about in episode, I think it was 11, it should be. In episode 11 or 12, I think it's 12. Yes, in episode 12, we actually talked about the impossible to get log unless you get it when you're in New Game Plus. It's a New Game Plus exclusive because it cancels out if you do the things we did in this run. But I also showed you that if you do the water system redirection first, you will get the missing log. Just do the water system first and then you can get that log. So do the usual method, get the 2 logs and then get the log in water when you play your New Game Plus. Just you'll need to play a New Game Plus, especially if you're going for Platinum. Here, just at the start of the chapter, not too far from here, we have another log that if you pick one, you will not be able to have the other unless you get to New Game Plus.
Report in loop. This is Dr. Elizabeth Cross. To all survivors, turn back. It's all gone. Everything we grew. My team. All dead. That monster. Please, leave. Get somewhere safe. If I can find a way to kill it somehow. Jacob, if you're hearing this, you know I have to try.
This is Dr. Elizabeth Cross, a character that in the original basically didn't have anything to do with anyone. You never see her, you just hear her and know of her because you hear her logs around Hydroponics. You meet her when she's killed by Dr. Mercer. She is also Jacob's temple girlfriend, it seems. As you can see, she names Jacob in a very special way. Now, here is where you can choose only one of 2 logs to get. We will get the first log in this way, and that is we will produce the enzyme before going right there in food storage. If you want to get the other log that is obtainable only New Game Plus, if you do this first, you will need to do this instead. Basically, you simply do not produce the enzyme and you go straight to food storage until you get the call, and then you double back and produce the enzyme, and you will get the log, shoot the Weezers, or inject the Weezers.
Even if it was the Leviathan would devour you.
You're Elizabeth Cross, right? This Leviathan, is that what's poisoning the air?
The air. My team, it's destroyed everything. I designed a special enzyme to kill it. I just needed liquid nitrogen to complete the synthesis. But the people I sent to medical never came back.
Your people didn't make it, but I've got the liquid nitrogen here.
And at least we can finish this. Use my workstation. It's all set up to create the enzyme.
Warning. Liquid nitrogen supply depleted. Liquid nitrogen replenished. Beginning enzyme synthesis. Enzyme synthesis complete. Caution. Do not ingest.
Yes, that's the enzyme. But we can't inject the Leviathan itself. It's too strong.
And how do I use it?
My team has been altered. They're all connected to the Leviathan, breathing out its toxins. But the connection goes both ways.
Okay, so if I get to your team and inject them,
The enzyme will be carried right into the Leviathan's heart. Find the Weezers. End their suffering. And when the Leviathan's weak enough, we bent that bastard into space.
Now that you saw how to get the other log in New Game Plus, let's get the normal log that I also got in my first playthrough. We produced the enzyme first.
Liquid nitrogen replenished. Beginning enzyme synthesis.
Very good. They also took out the scene where you meet Hammond
Do not ingest.
at the door of Hydroponics. In the original, you meet Hammond just half suffocated and half dead right outside Hydroponics.
Any luck?
yeah, I finished the enzyme. It's been modified to digest something big.
They must have been trying to kill whatever's in food storage. Let's hope it works.
Enzyme has been created. Gain access to food storage. Whatever's poisoning the air seems to be in food storage. We're running out of time. I need to get inside. As you can see, Hydroponics seems to be overrun with a lot of corruption, especially on that side. Well, this side seems a little bit more scarce on corruption. That side is absolutely overwhelmed with corruption. Before we get into food storage, let's save. And now go inside. Straight, nothing to stop us. As you can see, the corruption is all around, especially on this side again. And here it almost...
No. Go back. There's no way into food storage. Even if there was, the Leviathan would devour you.
You're Elizabeth Cross, right? This Leviathan, is that what's poisoning the air?
The air. My team, it's destroyed everything. I designed a special enzyme to kill it. I just needed liquid nitrogen to complete the synthesis. But the people I sent to medical never came back.
I've got some of that enzyme here.
Oh my god. How? Listen, we need to inject it into the Leviathan. You can't get into food storage, but there's another way. It's risky.
Riskier than running out of air?
My team has been altered. They're all connected to the Leviathan, breathing out its toxins. That connection goes both ways.
Okay, So if I get to your team and inject them,
The enzyme will be carried right into the Leviathan's heart. Bind the Weezers. End their suffering. And when the Leviathan is weak enough, we vent the bastard into space.
No more access to the food storage. Now get the objective, inject the Weezers. And there are a lot of them, clearly. Let's see. These all say the same thing. The first 1 through, let's see, 5 say the same thing. And that is, I need to inject Cross's enzyme into those wheezing creatures around hydroponics that are connected to the Leviathan. Once the Leviathan's weak enough, I can space it. What is the Leviathan? Leviathan, spoiler, is the first actual boss you meet in the original Dead Space as well. Yes, there are bosses, and yes, it takes 6 chapters to get to the first one. Okay? There are 2 mini-bosses if you really want to talk about bosses and things like that. And those are, the first mini-boss is the Brute that you meet on the flight deck, and then again right after, just under in electrical control. And the second mini-boss is clearly the Hunter that follows you, and it is not killable in any way, shape or form until you don't freeze it to death. Those are the single mini-bosses you get. And you cannot consider those bosses. The Leviathan is a boss. And it takes 6 introduction chapters to get you to actually killing a big, huge necromorph. But let's say 6, 7, and 8 have different descriptions, or at least 6 does, and 7 and 8 have the same, but is different from 6 and 5. Number 6 says, I need to inject cross enzyme into those wheezing creatures around hydroponics that are connected to the Leviathan. One of them is out of reach. I need to deactivate gravity in the east grow chamber to reach it. And those are all sub-objectives of inject the Weezers. That tells us that we can space the Leviathan after we inject all the Weezers. Of course, we will read about Weezers after we, let's say, kill the first one. As I showed you, to get the other log, just don't create the enzyme before going in. Don't create it, go in, double back, create it, and you get the other log. That is a other version of the create the enzyme log. But now, let's get to the first Weezer. That is a Weezer 01. Straight through. Yeah, no accidents. I don't think that will ever happen. This is corrosive. Don't get into it. Don't run into it. You are going to feel immeasurable pain and die. Especially in higher difficulties. Give me that. Here we have credits and a weapon upgrade. A Reaper upgrade. Let's see what it tells us, actually. Angled launcher. Bring this part to the bench to extend the upgrade path and gain access to a special upgrade. Angled launcher probably will be something about the shooting of the Reaper. And here we have the enzyme syringe, a highly potent enzyme modified to digest a specific type of tissue, specifically necromorphic tissue, that it seems can be countermeasured with cold. So I would like to think that the little hunter won't be a problem for us anymore. We get our bench also here. Let's see what we can upgrade. And hopefully we get something nice for ourselves. Here we have our First, ammunition upgrade for the pulse rifle. And then we have the Reaper upgrade that now gives us a Reaper blades have an additional ricochet. Basically, if you shoot the blade out, it jumps back a few more bounces. We have now the line gun. And the line gun can become our best weapon yet, because we talked about the fact that it has the most damage output available in the game without any upgrades. The damage is 150, while the others need to be upgraded to even reach that number. The plasma cutter actually has all available nodes of damage at the moment available upgraded, and it reaches only 20 points more than the line gun. So the line gun will be our best bet while fighting the necromorphs. For the moment, we shall wait, because I am evaluating about doing a little work behind the scenes to make sure that this run will go smoothly, and we can also work on the trophies after this series is done, and we will work on those while I will try something new. Of course, this should be scary, but I remember pretty well Hydroponics. Poor little, intensity director is trying his darn hardest, but is in bad shape at the moment. Here we have a problem. This is an arena, and for that arena I would like the plan to be at 100% completion. So, while I go back down, I want to tell you this. This, like we had our longest episode, we are now going to have our shortest almost at a minimum 30, what is it, 36 minutes, I think? And we will stop here. And behind the scenes, I will actually work on preparing for that arena specifically. So, while I go back, as always, Algads, I will see you all again quando torneremo a guardare le stelle. In the next episode, we're going to have fun.